you all being here today. I love the name of the organization, Loving Houston, because to me, it's the root of what we're called to do as believers. I kind of straddle this line as a believer, as a Christian, and as a school leader. So I'm thankful to be able to speak today, I think, on behalf of school leaders, because you're going to hear a lot from the faith-based side of this. But I want you to know, as school leaders, we appreciate the partnership. For many years, we attended a church in the north part of Houston where we would send millions of dollars across the ocean to save the lost. And over time, I began to go back to the words of Christ, go into all the world. But I began to challenge some of our church leaders. So does all the world not include our local community? Because we weren't doing anything to address the local community. We were going, traveling, taking our teenagers, taking our members, sending our money across to all kinds of other countries. It was wonderful work being done, but we were not touching the lost in our own community. And so when I guess it's been 4 or 5 years ago now when I came to that workshop and spoke, I was truly motivated and inspired by the work of Loving Houston, because you're enacting what our Savior calls us to do, and that is to love. It took me a long time to get there. I'm from a background where we used to go through the phases of hear, believe, repent, confess, be baptized. And you had to meet people and dunk them in about 60 days or less. As an adult, as an older adult, I've learned that sometimes you love, and you love, and you love, and you never even really know what God's doing in the heart of that person. But then over time, you see, wow, the Spirit is really moving in the life of that person. And so to me, as Loving Houston, that's the work I see you doing. And I see you doing it in a way that is changing lives. Because really that's what it's about. That's what Jesus was about. He was about changing lives. And it wasn't always a quick process. But I just love the fact that you all are executing. There's a book called Love Does. I'm sure many of you have read that, Bob Goff. If you haven't read it, you have to read the book. It is phenomenal. He's got another book called Everybody Always. If you put that together, Love Does, and then you have to love everybody always. They're both challenging books, but they're filled with rich stories that demonstrate that love is action. It's not just a feeling, not just a thought, not just good wishes. It is action. And it just inspires me to see the work you are doing that are bringing people, members, out of their seats, out of their pews, to schools to love the children, love the staff, love their parents, and you're loving them by serving them. Sometimes, we've heard the different ways that you're serving, and we were having a conversation at our table about sometimes it's challenging to support people with programs and to give them things. But I've learned sometimes you just give people more when you give them hope by mentoring them, by encouraging them, by challenging them. But you know what? Every bit of that takes a consistent effort. It's not a one-touch, one and done. It takes people who are willing to commit to be there faithfully week after week after week, to know the children, to know the staff, to know their families in a way that really enables them to see the true nature of their needs and to meet those deepest needs, not just the surface needs. And if you go back to Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs, yes, we all need food, we all need safety, we need clothing and all of those things, and that is helpful. But just speaking hope and truth in meaningful ways, and sometimes it's a nice note with a cookie that's placed on a desk to recognize people's efforts. Sometimes it's sitting knee to knee and celebrating that 5-year-old who has mastered reading the sentence for the first time on their own. Those are the little things. I'm looking at our two friends here from Willow Ridge High School. What the church has done in their community is they're giving those high school babies hope by allowing them to go down and get a stick of deodorant if they don't have it at home, or to get a pair of jeans or a shirt, something that lets them have clean clothes to wear and a notebook that they need that maybe they can't afford. Those things bring hope, and they allow students to grow and thrive in the school environment. And so I just can't express enough how much as a school leader I appreciate your efforts, and I'm going to tell you, my school board at Fort Bend ISD does too. I guess about 3 years ago now, they approved 4 strategic goals for our district. And one of those goals includes expanding our collaborative community. Now, we hear a lot about community engagement and community partnership and things like that, but I love the fact that we came up with the term collaborative community, because that says a lot more than just engaging and partnering. It means we can't do our job without a collaborative community. And yes, it takes moms and dads without a doubt. It takes the businesses. It takes community partners like Rotary and Kiwanis, all kinds of folks like that. But it also takes the faith-based community. You know, I mentioned a minute ago, folks leaving their buildings, leaving their homes to come to our schools. Oh, that's another thing that frustrated me over the years, is the idea that we would go to our churches on a Sunday morning and we would invite everybody to come. But did we go out and hold their hand where they were and meet them where they were? And that, I think, that's a weakness in many of our faith-based organizations today. We're not going out to bring them, to meet them, to greet them, to meet their needs, to love them. And I love what you're doing in Loving Houston, because it's motivating individuals to not just write a check and send a check. That's always helpful. I know money's needed, but we need bodies. And there are, I can't even, I'm sure how many churches are in the Houston area. I don't have that number, but there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people sitting in pews and chairs every Sunday morning who need to be motivated and challenged to put their faith into action the other 6 days of the week. And so I feel like that's what Loving Houston is doing. And I know in Fort Bend, they've given me a number. They said we have 42 church school partnerships in Fort Bend ISD that involve 25 churches and 29 schools. And those aren't always easy to do. Sometimes I've got to run interference because, to be honest, and when we talked about the reluctance, sometimes principals are scared because they know what the laws are. And they're a little worried that if they engage in something that leads to trouble, it makes them anxious. So sometimes I've got to say, no, this is a well-established partnership. It's absolutely okay to partner with the church. I guarantee the church folks know the rules. And we know the rules. We just have to honor those rules. And we just have to have a supporting partnership, a truly collaborative community. And that's what we're building in Fort Bend with so many different partners. And I do appreciate Pamela Shaw and Denise Blackman, their work that they're doing, because they've been pivotal in this role in helping to build these bridges. And so I appreciate all that they do. And I certainly appreciate the church leaders who have reached out and that have responded to our call at times as well, because you are truly changing lives by loving Houston. So I just want to thank you for giving me a few minutes today, and it's a blessing to be with you, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and another great 5 years. Happy birthday, loving Houston. Thank you.